Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your SheShed Scrapper. So today I am back with a second video. I decided that for National Scrapbooking Day, I would do extra videos, and so this is my second one of the day. I am going to be using the Julia collection from Felicity Jane, and I'm actually taking a couple of 6x12 flip flaps out of a scrapbooking workshop from Close to My Heart to use with this layout. The flip flaps came with the Good Vibes collection from Close to My Heart, and that was a special one for National Scrapbooking Day. And I will actually be coming back later this afternoon with a layout using that collection to kind of highlight that. But what I'm going to be doing is a 2-page layout with two 6x12 flip flaps. So lots and lots of content for this layout. I decided to use the flip flaps because summer of 2021, I decided to redo my SheShed. And I had lots and lots of photos and knew it would take up quite a bit of space in my scrapbook. It would be multiple 2-page layouts, and so I decided using the 6x12 flip flaps would be a great option. Unfortunately, I don't think they offer them by themselves. I am kind of sad about that because I think these are great, so I might contact them and suggest that they offer them kind of year-round. So you can see that I cut that polka dotted paper down the middle, and I was just going to place it on the solid colored paper that comes with the collection. However, I kind of wanted to use that for backing and whatnot, and so I decided to kind of trim that off and then tape these two pieces together. What I did here is I'm trying to line it up so it's a 12x12 piece in the end, and really I tried to get it straight. I'm not sure that it's 100% straight, if I'm going to be honest, but it works. And then I used kind of this light pink grid paper to fill in the outsides there on each end of the 2-page layout. I used the zip strip that has more of the green in it. It's a pretty floral piece, and kind of covered up where those two pieces of paper meet and kind of gives that polka dotted paper a border. One thing I forgot to mention earlier was that this is quite a long video, so I apologize, but in kind of a sense, you are getting a 3-page layout, 3.5-page layout almost. So it is a lot of content. So here I decided to back the one photo with the darker green. I thought it matched my dad and I's shirt perfectly, and that is in that polka dotted paper, and I wanted to incorporate that kind of in there as well somewhere, and so that's why I decided to do that. I had this kind of darker coral paper that came with the collection, and so I double backed these two photos. I wanted them to pop out because the background, the polka dot background, is so busy. I wanted those to kind of pop out a little bit. Otherwise, I probably would have just left them white, but that kind of would have been pointless in backing them in the first place. So I decided to pop the picture of my dad and I up on some foam tape to give the layout some dimension. And this layout here with the pictures. So my SheShed is, or was, all wood paneling, all dark wood paneling. And so what this page is documenting is the one wall had some water damage from before we had bought the house. And the bottom of it, you'll kind of see in some of the pictures that go on the flip flaps what I'm talking about, but the bottom was very water damaged, and So we had to remove that wood paneling and we decided to drywall that whole wall. And so that is kind of what that first page is documenting, kind of the process of the drywall. My dad and I did it together. He has some previous experience, and so I snatched him up. It was part of my birthday present. I was trying to go easy on him. I said, Dad, if you help me, it could be part of my birthday present. So he took me up on that, and I'm very thankful for that. So my title is going to kind of go across both pages here, and it is going to be SheShed Makeover. I did have to readjust the makeover, and so I didn't make you guys watch me kind of fiddle with that. So I did cut that out to save a little bit of time, not much, but I decided not to embellish. I only had one embellishment pack and some kind of chipboard flare circles, and so I decided to kind of get my base pages done first and then go back and kind of embellish, just so I didn't over embellish something and not have anything left at the end. So these are going to be, this is one of my 6x12 layouts. I decided to pick that kind of plain black and white background. I just cut the paper in half. The back side is that pink grid paper, and I didn't have enough photos to make kind of 4 6x12 layouts, and so what I decided, because this was a large project, that I'm just going to use the inside of the second flip flap to journal. So that's what I kind of meant when I said you get 3.5 layouts. The one is just plain as of right now for journaling, and that's going to be the back side of this one. So these photos here, we had to do some trim work on the drywalled paper as well. And these ones here I took pictures of because this was actually 4th of July. We went to the parade. My dad came over. I had painted the trim that morning and it was dry enough. My dad came over and helped my husband and I, and we got the trim cut down and put up on the walls. So I was just super thankful that they were willing to take time out of 4th of July to come help me with that. And so that's what those photos are documenting. Now, the first flip flap is going to be the before photos of my SheShed. So this kind of allows you to see the wood paneling, kind of how dark it is. I did end up trimming some of these down a little bit just because of how I wanted to place them on the paper. So for the background of this one, I chose this heart paper, which most of the hearts are kind of covered up by the time I put the 2 photos on it, but it is what it is, and it was one of the more subtle background papers in the collection. So I am going to double back these. I had to kind of trim it down because I didn't have a lot of extra solid pieces that came with the collection. So that's kind of why, another reason I trimmed down that photo there. And then I am going to kind of place the one that's double backed over top of the first one, and I only backed that with white, primarily because I was hurting for the solid cardstock from the collection. So I decided to use the zip strip at the top there, and I figured, wow, I'll just kind of carry that all the way across, and bent it and folded it back so it's actually on the back page as well. I then thought it was kind of plain, and so I layered a couple of pattern papers behind that top photo on that first page of that zip strip. So here is the pictures of the water damage, and I decided I didn't want that to be the first thing that you saw when you came to this page, and so this is going to be the inside of that first flip flap. So I think it's important to the story and to document, and so I wanted it but didn't want it to kind of be the main thing that you saw. So that's kind of why I decided to have this in the inside of the flip flap. I also then decided to just have them kind of one on top of the other and double backed these. I did have to trim them down only because they were 6 inches across and my whole layout is only 6 inches across. So I had to trim them down, and you can barely see on the outside of the photos the kind of black and white checkered background paper, but I guess it's not that important. You can see it up top. On the bottom of the solid cardstock on the Felicity Jane papers, they have scallops, and so I decided to cut this light pink scallop and kind of put that on the bottom of this layout, or this photo here, just to give it a little bit, I don't know, these photos are so brown and honestly kind of ugly. So kind of to give it a more feminine look, I guess I can say. I also wanted kind of more patterns on this as well, so I brought in that rainbow paper that I had on the front of this page and put that at the bottom. The top, it must have been, I don't know, a mistake in coloring or when they printed the paper. It kind of had a blue tinge to it, and I didn't really want that to show, and so that's why I covered it up with that coral strip. So here are my two 6x12 flip flaps. Again, the one is just one-sided because I am going to journal on the other side. So I decided to go and kind of show you now where I'm going to place those two layouts, the two flip flaps. But I decided to embellish the 2-page layout first. And it has the most space for the embellishing, and so I kind of wanted to almost utilize my embellishments most on these 2 pages. If you are not familiar with Felicity Jane, each of the embellishment or ephemera packs comes with a girl. I don't usually use these, but I thought on the right hand side there, it filled in that space very nicely. I do want to leave a little bit of strip kind of at the edge, I guess, so that I can, now that I'm thinking of it, I don't attach the flip flaps right to the layout, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But while I was doing it, that was my thought. Leave a space on the edge to attach the flip flap, but in actuality, you attach it to the page protector. So that's kind of why I left quite a big space on the right hand side though. So this is the ephemera pack, and I am proud to say I used all but one little piece, I think, of this ephemera pack. Towards the end, it was kind of difficult. I made it work, but I don't know that I've ever really done that. I guess, though, that this is almost, like I said, 3.5 pages, and so I was able to use it all, which kind of stinks because I have quite a bit of paper left. I do have 2 of these paper pads, so I might actually, next time I order another ephemera pack, but I was proud that I finished it off on this layout. So I did those kind of just 3 simple clusters to begin with. The lady, the one with the tag at the top, and then a simple one at the bottom of the first page. The first page is quite busy with 3 photos, and I didn't want to overdo it, especially with the title there. I didn't really know where else to embellish. So on this flip flap, I am just using the ticket and then one of those circle flares that they had, and then I'm going to pop up, I think, a butterfly on foam tape and use it for that cluster. I also tucked in a floral cluster kind of in between the photos, and then I'm adding another one of the circle flares and a floral piece there. So super simple. I wasn't sure how to use this create because obviously I already have a title for my layout, but I thought it would be a great filler almost to the top of that this flip flap. That little circle tag says work in progress, which I was thrilled about. I thought that was so cute, so I decided to use that and put some twine on it as well. I am going to overlap or tuck a floral cluster underneath, I did once again grab, another one of the circle flares to make that cluster. Some of my embellishing is minimal. This one being one of them. I feel like I did tuck another small flower on that middle embellishment cluster, and then added those hearts to that create at the top. So I was going to, and I ended up having to keep it, but I was going to do an embellishment cluster to the left of the she there. In my mind, I was thinking I needed to leave a little space for the flip flap. However, looking back, I could have left the entire embellishment cluster where it was. Those circle flares are already sticky, and I could not get that circle flare off the paper without ruining either that or the paper. So I ended up having to leave it. I moved that floral cluster to the middle and added some embellishments there. I did end up taking off that circle flare and adding the tab, and then adding the circle flare back on top. I was able to cover up what ripped with that tag. So I did end up with a cluster up there anyways. Now my embellishments are getting quite sparse and I don't have many left. I have these little tags here and some of the circle flares left, so I decided to kind of tuck those behind the circle flare which says workspace, and I am going to go back and add some twine to those. Luckily I had a couple of colors that kind of worked, and then I had these two kind of label journaling tabs, and I decided to layer them over top of another circle flare. The bottom one was kind of had a patterned outside, and so that's kind of why I just decided to layer them. The top one I decided to use and actually journal, and I did add that was July 4th. I will obviously add that to my journaling as well, but just thought that it was important to document. Oops, sorry. Didn't have my phone on silent. And actually, funny thing is, that was a notification from Felicity Jane that they posted on Instagram. So kind of fitting that I am doing the voiceover on a layout using their collection. So now I am going through my twine. I'm going to add the twine, 3 different colors to these little tags. And kind of the reason I did so was to kind of fill in more of that space there. I didn't, again, have many embellishments left, if any. And so kind of why I wanted to fill that in. I do decided to do some tags at the top. I do have a couple of the circle flares left. And I had scrap pieces of paper, so I decided to make my own tags there. And then I do a second one using a zip strip in this yellow. Just thought I'd bring in some more colors to the layout. And so one thing I've learned or discovered when I do tags like this, I like to almost make them longer so that I have room to decide where exactly I want them placed, and then I will trim them off. So that's why they were super long, and then I trimmed them off. It just has been a lot easier for me. So again, all I have left are the circle flares, and I decide to kind of just add a couple to the top there to finish off the flip flap. I will put them in the flip flaps here and kind of place them where they are going to go to kind of show you. Unfortunately, when I open them up, they're going to be off camera because my camera view is not that wide. But I have close-ups that will be at the end for you guys to see. So I apologize again for such a long video, but again, it's like 3.5 pages that I completed, and it's a special layout for National Scrapbooking Day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the layout of my SheShed makeover, and And we will see you later this afternoon with a second video, or a third video for the day, using the Good Vibes collection from Close to My Heart that was put out for National Scrapbooking Day. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and stay tuned for the video later. Bye guys.